Welcome to Bite-Sized Battles, the podcast that brings history's most decisive clashes to life in quick, powerful episodes. In 480 BC, a narrow mountain pass in northern Greece became the stage for one of the most legendary last stands in human history. 300 Spartan warriors and a few thousand Greek allies faced down the massive Persian army of King Xerxes, an empire stretching from Egypt to India. They knew they were outnumbered. They knew they would die. But also they knew the fate of Greece depended on them holding the pass for as long as possible. This is Bite-Sized Battles, and today we're breaking down the Battle of Thermopylae, the last stand that still echoes across the centuries. 10 years earlier, the Persians had attempted to conquer Greece, but were humiliated at Marathon. King Darius vowed revenge, but died before achieving it. His son, Xerxes, took up the mission. He built an enormous invasion force. Ancient sources had claimed millions, but modern historians estimated around 100,000 to 150,000 infantry and cavalry, supported by a massive fleet and supply train. This was not a raid, this was a conquest. Greece was divided into small city-states, and it could never win alone. But united under a temporary alliance, Sparta leading on land and Athens at sea, they'd formed a desperate plan. Delay the Persians at a narrow choke point long enough for Greece to mobilize. That choke point was Thermopylae, the Hot Gates. Sparta had sent its king, Leonidas, and his elite guard of 300 Spartan hoplites. But the force was larger than the famous number that's been given. They were joined by 700 Thespians, 400 Thebans, and 1,000 Phoenicians, and there were several thousand more Greeks rotating in and out. In total, around 7,000 Greeks would attempt to hold the pass. Leonidas brought only married soldiers, men with sons to carry their names, because he did not expect them to return. Thermopylae was a defender's dream. The Hot Gates. It was a narrow strip between a steep mountain and the sea. In some spots, the pass was so tight, only a few dozen men could stand shoulder to shoulder, and this erased Persia's advantage in numbers. The Greek plan forced the Persians into a bottleneck, used their heavy armour and the phalanx formation to block the pass, and they rotated fresh soldiers into the front line. Hold as long as possible, no matter the cost. And when Xerxes arrived, expecting the Greeks to surrender, he was met with silence, and Spartans calmly combing their hair. Xerxes demanded they lay down their weapons, and Leonidas responded, "Come and take them." The Persian infantry attacked first. Light troops with wicker shields and short spears. They slammed into the Greek phalanx and shattered. The long Greek spears, heavy armour, and tight formation gave the defenders every advantage. The Persians could not use their superior numbers. They could not flank. They could only push forward into the wall of bronze. Wave after wave fell back with heavy losses. Frustrated, Xerxes sent in his elite immortals, the 10,000-man royal guard. But even the immortals struggled. The narrow pass prevented them from maneuvering. The Greeks kept rotating their best units to the front, and the Spartans used disciplined, feigned retreats to lure the Persians into deadly counterstrikes. By sunset, the Persians had made no progress. Xerxes was furious and shocked. Xerxes believed the Greeks must be exhausted. He launched a second day of attacks, confident that weight of numbers would eventually win. But the phalanx still held. Ancient writers describe the Greeks fighting with machine-like coordination, shields overlapping, spears thrusting, rotating men in and out with flawless discipline. The Persians again took heavy casualties. By the end of day 2, it was clear. Thermopylae wasn't just a battle, it was a humiliation for Persia. But everything changed that night. A local Greek named Ephialtes approached Xerxes with a secret. High in the mountains above Thermopylae lay the Ionapa Trail, a hidden path that circled behind the Greek position. It was guarded by Phoenician troops, but lightly. Ephialtes promised to guide the Persians through it. Xerxes accepted. He sent a large force during the night. By dawn, they were behind the Greek position, ready to encircle them. Leonidas received the news. The pass was lost. Retreat was possible, but only for some, and Leonidas had made his choice. Leonidas dismissed the bulk of the Greek army, ordering them to withdraw and to fight another day. But he and his 300 Spartans remained. The 700 Thespians refused to leave. The 400 Thebans were compelled to stay. In total, a few thousand men prepared for what they knew would be their final morning. The Persians advanced from both sides. Leonidas led his troops into the widest part of the pass, determined to cause maximum damage before they died. Their spears broke, they fought with swords, and when those snapped, they used shields, daggers, rocks, even their bare hands. The intensity was brutal and desperate. Leonidas was killed in the fighting, and the Spartans fought ferociously to protect his body, fulfilling a cultural duty of honor. Eventually, surrounded on all sides, the last defenders were overwhelmed. Thermopylae had fallen. Militarily, the Greeks lost the pass, but strategically, the stand achieved everything Greece needed. The Persians were delayed for days. The Greek navy positioned itself for a decisive battle. Greek morale rallied instead of collapsing. Thermopylae brought time that led directly to Greece's greatest victories. Salamis, where the Greek navy destroyed the Persian fleet, and Plataea, where Persians' land forces were finally crushed, and the Persians would never conquer Greece. Thermopylae has become more than a battle. It's become a symbol. It's become a symbol for courage against overwhelming odds, sacrifice for the greater good, a small coalition standing against a giant empire. Leaders, armies, and resistance movements for centuries have drawn inspiration from Leonidas' stand. The Spartans did not fight expecting victory. They fought knowing their deaths would help save their civilization. And it did. The Battle of Thermopylae showed that even the greatest empire can be slowed, and even the smallest force can inspire a world. Thanks for listening to Bite-Sized Battles. Follow the show for more fast-paced, dramatic breakdowns of the battles that shaped our world. Next episode, The Perfect Trap, Hannibal's masterpiece at Cannae.